Right, live on Facebook, live on YouTube. Some more music running in the background. Let's lucky for the time. Shalom Akim, Shalom Akim. Right, prison officer Tazo holding on for Officer Galwani. Right, this is the I.S.U.P.K under Commander GEN.YAHANNA started out at 1 West 121st Street, Harlem, New York. Under Commander GEN.YAHANNA, we teach that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the biblical Israelites, the real rulers of the planet. Right, the people in them that they're trying to wear out and kill out all this thing, trying to kill this word and confuse them in each and every way. You know what I mean? That's why the title of the class is touching on Christmas and New Year's, you know, so it's basically the same spirit, right?
Right.
For real, so, you know what I mean? We just go on, you know what I mean? Just rock it out a little bit and give us a little 2 minutes, you know, we just go and start just put certain things in the chat there, you know. So that the girls you could see, you know, and read along as well. So, you know, the thing that we make up. This was always here, and you know, our person never really hide who he is, especially to himself. He always wanted to carry on that tradition. You know, so he just keep them things in the record, and it's so happened like he never thought we'd get to read now. You know what I mean? I get a chance to read and to write all that and communicate, because you know this would be very important for us to really understand what really taking place all together. That's the start of that. As opposed to even coming on to, you know, doing what the most I say to do and all them different things now, you know. So you just touch on that real quick and then you know what I mean? And get into what the scriptures are saying, right? So what we have here, right? Which one is this? Right. Yeah, read this. Right. Anyway, the music running in the meantime, Salakia, the one young. Right.
See, I've been here for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I see niggas, they like to talk a lot, they like to claim this shit, they like to claim this and that. You know what I'm saying? They like to be a boss, they really have authority. But they don't really need that authority.
Hey, no, yes, sir, yes, sir. Shout out to Karam Yala, you know what I mean? Taking in the class and all that, most time, Christ, sir. I'm right. Good.
Everybody put on that. Everybody put on that. That mic on. Boy, stop it. About to be serious. Boy, and they hit us with dope and kill us with crack. What the fuck with your leaders are curious? You can't stop for your blood. Trading you in and falling for beans. You can't see the prophets, I tell you the scheme. If you wake up, you gon' die in your dreams. I tell you won't tell you no more. I swear these crackers try to kill us slow. Just spoke to a nigga and fed the on parole because of the COVID. It feel like the whole in this world and don't want together. Knowing it's golden to get them. I'm in the city blazing with my niggas. Just so the devil, the scope never settle. Sometimes these niggas keep talking about, you know, you respect my religion, I respect your religion. Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you the props. You know, like we all come together. You know what I'm saying? They say God sold up the world. God sold up the world. And all your ass need to stop and ask you. Give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe. You gotta stand up to serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. But you don't pray on our knees. You gotta stand up. You know what I'm saying? You got to be head people. I don't step outside of the show. The fake niggas stay silent. I got it. Let's go. I ain't taking no loss. Ain't no talking, but we got the flow. Ain't no peace. Just keep it low. Be low to the right arm. Tell them we can't keep it safe.
All right.
And I can never let by you.
All right, so we go ahead and get into the class. All right, so again, just touching on, you know what I mean, the I.S.U.P.K again, out of 1 West 125th Street out of New York. That is where we originate from. Headquarters in New York, right? And Commander GEN.YAHANNA is the leader of our nation, right? So,
Yeah, shalom.
all right, so just touching on a little bit about just touching a little bit on New Year's Day, all right? So I put the first article inside, which is from the what do you call it? From Wikipedia, right? But we read one scripture first, right? Give me Daniel chapter 7 and 25, Babu Gasha. And then after that, anybody can pull up the article right on the Facebook chat. I'll put it on the YouTube too. The first article to read on both platforms. with jars. So it's like it's a good.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 25.
Mm-hmm.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
All right, pause, Babakasha, right? So what the scripture talking about here is a man, you know, that will change the whole course of nature, the whole course of what people think, you know what I mean? What we're supposed to do, what our day is look like, you know, even the time of the day, you know, what plans is, you know, what it used for. The whole scheme of things, your whole understanding of what is and what is not. You know, that man would speak great swollen words against the Most High. This man is an enemy to the Most High. You know what I mean? This man is the direct opposite of what the Most High intended for the whole planet. You know what I mean? Especially for the people that he want to rule the planet itself, you know? And we'll touch into some of that, because the same scripture you're talking about, who it is, this same man who's against the Most High, what he'll do. You know what I mean? Yes, so go ahead.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High. The Most High call us saints. We have many things that the Most High call us, you know what I mean? Like the apple of the eye, you know what I mean? His children, you know what I mean? The children of Israel, right? What do you call it? Different things that the Most High nickname us now. That just like a black man today, because that is spirit of the Most High, you know? You give your names, you know what I mean? I exalt you like warrior, you know what I mean? Warlord, you call it this, you call it Benjamin. If you disrespecting you in your outer place, you call it, you know, certain things too. You know, you operate in a certain way, but in the scriptures, the Lord calling us, you know what I mean, the saints now. Give me Psalm chapter 148 and verse 14, Babakasha. You know what I mean, to show who's the saints now. Because just like a father, you know, if you're writing down the historical records of the background, let's say the family tree then, he naming the family tree and, you know, he calling, well, Hausa, you know, this one from the Hausa, this, you know what I mean, or this must saints say. You know what I mean, that's how they represent them. The certain category of certain characteristics of our people, he will name them by that, just like anybody is doing today. You know what I mean? So the Most High now saying, okay, this must say, right? And he's showing it in Psalms 148 and verse 14. All right? When anybody have it, give it, Babakasha.
The book of Psalms 148 and verse 14.
Mm-hmm.
He also exalted the horn of his people.
Right.
The praise of all his saints,
Mm-hmm.
even the children of Israel.
Right. Even the
Children of Israel.
right. So the saints could only be the children of Israel according to God. You know, somebody had to show me in the New Testament wherever the Lord changed that. When the new covenant come, if the new covenant was only, you know what I mean, about, what do you call it, giving everybody a free pass to do what the hell ever they want and never to pay for it. No problem, you know what I mean? It's like it's when you're ready, right? Yeah, I'll continue when you're ready. When you're ready. Yeah, man, come on, no, sir, right? Yeah, so go ahead.
A people near unto him.
The people what?
Near unto him.
The Lord said that these people are them near unto him. So if there's a particular people that near unto him, it has to be people that he don't deal with. You know, other people that he don't want close to him. You know what I mean? He said, these people are near to me. So somebody show me that in the New Testament then. Will that ever change? And that is what the scripture talking about in Daniel 7 and 25 again. Go back to it, Babakasha. And they had to put them together because the Lord saying one thing and he's saying something opposite. You know what I mean? Who lying then? So the Lord sanctioned this, he said it from before. He didn't come and change it afterward. You know what I mean? This is what he put on here. All right? Daniel 7:25, Babakasha.
Book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 25.
Mm-hmm.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
This man that's speaking great words against the Most High follows the man who changed what the Most High said before. As it is today, that is not what the Most High laid down for the children of Israel to do and to be about. You know what I mean? For the whole world to be under that type of illusion and chaotic and frantic every time the 25th of December come about or New Year's Day come about. It's all kind of different things that they're showing the we call theatrics, you know, the games of the oppressor, the man that ruling over us, because everything it is benefit him, right? And again, he don't even think like 10 years down the road. He don't even see that, you know what I mean? There's not ever any frame of mind when he doing anything, right? Because Christmas, everybody running, and then every time, everybody always talking about January is the hardest month. Everybody always born wherever you go on the face of the planet, unless they're not under that spell, and they're not, or they're benefiting from it. You know what I mean? It's either they are manufacturers, you know what I mean? They are companies, all kind of different things, and they're benefiting from it, right? And them have time with that, you know what I mean? So them can do whatever, right? Because they're in league with them and they're benefiting from it. But I sure, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians always getting caught up with that, and then all of a sudden, the parents become the slave to the child. All of a sudden, you understand, what your children think comes more important than what it is you want to lay down for them. What it is you say, understand, or what it is you showing them so-called 364 days a year, as they say. You know what I mean? As they like to say, well, they say 363. You had to exclude Christmas and Christmas and New Year's, because some of them, if they ain't celebrating, but they're celebrating them too. For some reason, people just crumble under them too. You know what I mean? Like the most, what do you call it? The most esteemed holidays, not high holidays, holidays of the oppressor is what the whole earth is crumble under. If somebody's pretending, you know, something like they don't celebrate birthdays and all kind of different things, all of a sudden, you know what I mean, the season greetings, so that kind of thing. I'm going to tell my season greeting yesterday. I say, around this time, I eat chicken just so I want no season. Okay, well, season, you understand? I don't season greeting. I don't celebrate that. They're not straight. That way it is because people and them thinking, you know, they're missing out on something. You know what I mean? And that is a brother I grew up with, you know, he live in, and we here no more, he used to live next door, you know what I mean? But at the same time, friends, you missing nothing. You know what I mean? Later on, of course, we're going to hear chaos. Some kind of bacchanal in the street. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Again, like we're now seeing it's showing it how wary we is as a people.
That is it.
Like we're not bringing out this
Correct.
now because
Correct.
now your mind's so caught up in this society. You don't even know your identity.
Correct.
So you wear out.
Correct.
That's the reason here.
Yes.
You wear out the same.
Correct.
You wear out.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you won't believe it. I don't want to say who it is, but Brett observed something last night as well too. Now watch out, but in the Facebook and I say, hey, see that come out there? That way out there? The man watch the marijuana he's smoking, you understand? The incense burning, and I could see boy like the man watching like the smoke coming from the thing, and understand like the man live doing away in that thing. I say, way boy. I watch the next man too, and he just come around and lie around and everybody, you know what I mean? And I say, boy. Watch my brothers and them now, boy, Holy Spirit and all that, you know what I mean? Sometimes you used to see men playing football, you go see them that aggressive now. You ain't see no aggression in them, nothing, you know? Like that, like fully pull away from you again when you're out. Because you're always trying to keep up with this thing now, you know what I mean? As opposed to boy building your strength and having your esteem there. Because now, when you esteem and they say, and you say, well, I have to do this. At times, you's not a man no more, or you's not a woman no more, that change. You know what I mean? Christmas, the same thing, that change. If all of us know this thing, the Lord give you high holidays that not, you understand, going to break you. He say not give us, then give us their soul. Like what the Lord give to you, you understand? Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, and woman, you're not missing out on nothing. Who it is for somebody now to say, well, you know what I mean? On this day, if you don't do what it is I say, or you ain't celebrating my traditions, you don't exist. Use nothing on the face of the planet. That's showing you, as Officer Swap now saying, your identity, you don't even have the identity, you know what I mean? So that no longer attached to it. So the esteem and the power that's supposed to hold, you know what I mean? At least in you being the people that the Most High God put on the top of the planet. The rulers of the planet, therefore, the people and them who are esteemed, like how General Mike breaking on the class, the Thursday, you know what I mean? When he's talking about with power and bloodline, how important that was, that thing rocked my soul. I ain't gonna like to tell him because, brothers, these things are not taught to us, like the brother who are talking about, you understand? And that marijuana he's smoking there. And that life draining out time basically. If you understand that you have a rich bloodline and you're supposed to control and people are supposed to be laying, you know what I mean, bowing down their head when they pass you. If you're supposed to be the man that they know, you understand, to fix the situation in this country. In other words, when you walk up and probably going on in the neighborhood, like, what the hell is even going on for? Everybody's supposed to be picking up shop. Drug dealers ain't supposed to think, you understand, to come around because you say, like, what are you doing this for? Like this had no sense in it, you understand? We teach you smoking marijuana and cooking and all them things. What is this? There's have to be utter madness. That is why we forefathers, and when they see things like this, and Daniel now, under the inspiration of the Most High, thinking about it. The man, you know, like when he say we're not, this is like we're not, like what kind of madness is this I see here? But is that prophecy? Everything written in the scriptures here, talking about, you understand, prophesying. This is not when Daniel was alive and seeing things going on. This is what you'd see in the future. You know what I mean? So with all that now, you have to be seeing this and some have to be, you know, really shaking up your inside and there's no, well, what kind of madness really taking place here? This man, you're talking about this man here, he ruling the earth. And that time he under the Babylonians and them already, he don't know how base days already. You follow because remember at the youth, all 14 years old, I ain't saying that is what the Bible said, right? But they say a picture around that time when you know, as a youth and you would classify a young man because in this society, things they will take something to make up what it is they would make, what they would call, you know, what do you call it? The classifications of ages and certain things, right? So like teen, for instance, you know what I mean? You could see within teen years, you know, you could say, well, that's a young man, right? You establish that along the lines because, you know, it have a historical background from what they used to call a young man or what, you know, around the age range and all that. And possibly if you look in the historical record somewhere, it would be there because again, the oppressor writing it down so his people would get to understand that this is what is really happening here. But I need these people and them who I put in under y'all who we going to subdue because they don't have protection, because they're not serving the Lord. and they under your foot right now. I need you all to continue to remember this. So you write it down in the record, just like the article pulling up the Babakisha, right? So let me get this article here, Babakisha, right? On before the article was just right. In the book, the two Babylons, there's a list of different names and all that, and I'm almost sure if I come to that or some other recollection, some other record book there, you'll find other things where the background of certain things is there, because Christmas, the history on Christmas is in there. You know, Pastor Galwan got it out on Aisha Wells program Monday gone, right? In terms of the history on Christmas and all that, you can look at it and you've seen it for yourself. And this man now, this oppressor, continue to put down the things in him to help his people and to understand this is what we have to get them confused in. We must keep them separated, you understand, from the spirit that they're supposed to be in, you know what I mean? When they're busy, you know what I mean, trying to survive, and then on top of that, I'm making the whole world pressure them by the children and going to school. And then the other Chinese children or the East Indian children, all of them, you know what I mean, preparing to buy gifts and go on a boat cruise here, whatever the case is. And they're making Santa, you know what I mean, the man who's saying that brought the gifts. So now nobody can see, well, boy, it's really and truly the mother and father eating off my mother and them back. Eating up my mother and them fighting to go and prepare something, you know what I mean? I'm trying to pull our money now to buy some shipping toy. And I go mash up the same day or the day after, whatever the case is. It's the same other people who go in on a trip to Greece and Italy, all them places, France and all them places, and then we follow all the other they call it Caucasian economic regions where they go in and pouring that money into, and we're nice and all of that because they don't have poverty. The streets in regular jobs, especially they have a church on every corner, right? To push that garbage neither, because they ain't allowing that in Denmark. All them different places, like a store and a church, you're not seeing that. We're the only place in the sun they could split across when you see that church right there. And with the church pushing the same doctrine as the same oppressors and them. Things to continue to weigh out, because now these people look like you, so it's supposed to trust them. You know what I mean? Not understanding that, hey, these people in them was taught by the same slave master that set up the whole system for you to learn. His doctrine, not what the Bible says. If you read the Bible itself, you're seeing something different. you're not seeing what I'm talking about for years and years. I know you don't wear out, they don't beat you over so much, you know what I mean? And you ain't seen no way forward. So you're dependent on them for your job, you're dependent on them for your, you know what I mean, your daily, your water, everything like that, and not understanding that, hey, you could shape, you understand, the minds of people can no longer depend on that. That is why we even doing what we're doing right now. Yeah? Maybe the Janus Babusha, right? Yeah.
In ancient Janus, right? In ancient Rome religion and myth, Janus, right, is the god of beginnings, gates, transitions, time, duality, doorways, passages, frames, and endings. He is usually depicted as having two faces. The month of January is named for Janus. Right? According to ancient Rome farmers, Amaleks, Juno was mistaken as a tutelary deity of the month of January, but Juno is the tutelary deity of the month of June.
Pause right there, right? So in ancient Rome and myth Janus, right, they're talking about the god of beginnings and ends. What is the custom that people are accustomed to doing every time the so-called month of January come about? Because as we see June and all that, you're not seeing that in the scriptures. Those names are not there. Lord tell you, understand the beginning of the month is in spring. You follow? Exodus 12 and 1. Somebody hold it back up, right? This month will be a beginning of months, and what is follow it? You know what I mean? It's the same days and them that the Lord put up, right? Every new month, every cycle of a new month is the new moon, right? And that is what it is. You can tell you all this garbage here, right? But if the Lord set up for something for you to do, right? And He give you a blueprint to do, why it is you always have to start and stop every time the year start? It's Ludos or it's Nick and Ladders? Huh? You have to wonder, you know what I mean? Where this garbage coming from? If something beginning and end here, and the Lord saying, if you do this, this will continue to happen. He gave you 7 years, and the son says 7 years, and on the 7th year, you're going to rest your crops on them. 6 years. How come, you know what I mean? This man talking about every year something changing, and this one stop and all that. At the start and stop on when you press a button. Right? Madness again. And this is after all kind of different names. Augustus, you know what I mean? After Caesar Augustus, that is the month of August. The month of Julius Caesar, you understand? The same as next Caesar again. That's the mean, you know, that title like for Prime Minister. You know what I mean? You stop again the name in the month after your name. Yeah, Juno, they're not talking about it again, June. You know what I mean? Janus, January. Yeah? All of them thinking them is garbage, you know what I mean? They don't actually work, it's just myths. That's, you know what I mean? As they say, it is an ancient Roman religion and myth. You know what I mean? It's myth. This person never exists. You know what I mean? Yes, sir, go ahead. That is it.
So now we are already breaking down now again. Is the time.
That is it.
Because now all these myths
and
they're coming out now. It's
correct.
Now we portray each other.
That is it. That is it.
Which opposed to our culture.
Right.
Our keeping our high with data.
Right. Right. No, the thing is, the Lord set it down on wisdom, because when you look at it now, a man who in farming, or a man who, you know what I mean, who doing certain things, right? He know that take a certain time for things to cure, you understand, a certain time, and that you have to hit with the seasons. When you take away all that now from a person now, you really actually don't have the ability now to really structure, you understand, the society the way it's supposed to be. Because you know, going off track with this man thing, you know. You follow? When the scriptures talk about in Genesis, Genesis 1 and 5, a day that start at sundown. And then the next time, you know what I mean? That is when it is. When you throw up a man whole date now, when it is he planning for the crop now, and they say 3 months down the road, that is the crop, you understand? Or 6 months down the road, or 6 months down the road, you understand? The animal will come. So I try to put things in place as best as possible. You wear him out so much, you know what I mean? That you have to go and back and trace back all them different things now to go and observe what he's supposed to do. And he can't say, well, okay, I will put, you understand, I will determine in my mind, and they can't easily do it. Right? I will determine, then I will try, you know what I mean? By the grace of mercy, the most side to set 10,000 cattle on that side, you know what I mean? And then in this time frame here, so I will look, you know what I mean, to put things in place a particular way. Yeah, they're going to learn over all that science, you know what I mean, how things actually work, as opposed to what this man saying here. If somebody go by the calendar, and let's say a man start up the side, and he buy the things that the oppressor put in on here, he will have less chance of success, you understand, or getting things done than opposed to what the Lord said to do. Sure about that. Because this man is always talk against what the Most I say to do. You know what I mean? When he put on the thing, you know why he tell you that, right? you go on following after this man. His time, and then 12 o'clock in the day, and then the next time thing opening, right? And then it is changed the whole time. Remember, sleep on all them different things is a factor now. So when you change that whole rhythm now, get extra hard, because them people and them who they do security for the companies and doing accountants and they call it and certain parts of the business, right? They working extra long than the business owner, and the business owner never have the amount of degrees that he asking him for, right? All them different tie, and that's what people need to see in the inner workings, day-to-day basis. This Bible here is the realest thing on the face of the planet, the realest thing that you can ever meet in your life, because it's telling you exactly how the state become, how the state of society become today. How disgusting, and you follow, and how corrupted and we call it the degradation, you understand, the destruction basically of our people systematically become today. And that we have to see. Christmas and January is the same time, you know, it's the same spirit. That we talking about today, you understand? That we have to understand. It ain't nothing different. Right? Always, you know, I mean, some type of fable to get thinking like it is some kind of it's something that should be honored. Like everybody believing that if they put, you understand, if they have, what call it, is pigeon peas, something black eyed peas, or they cook black eyed peas, and if they have pigeon peas in their pocket, I don't mind, as long as about 15, 10 years, people go to church and they're supposed to believe in God, right? And that thing in their pocket, you understand, you have to be mad. You have to be absolutely mad. You don't believe the Bible, you believe the God of the Bible, you don't believe God. When you go in the church, so called, you understand? When I used to get dragged to them shippiness, right? Well, more than 15 years ago, I ain't gonna sell off my age, right? But more than that time, when you go in the church and you see that every year, and people are cooking pork, you understand? That is what people eating on the same January. That's supposed to be a new beginning. And when you look at it, you're not following nothing that's inside the Bible, nothing that will secure, you understand, the help for years to come. That is only destruction of years to come. In other words, every year, you understand, I go in the same cycle again. This Jana say, hey, this really and truly is a play on you. so-called black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man. They're not whole as they call it, as accountable as we are under the Bible, because this was given to us to keep. So when we don't keep it, you understand, we definitely will get plenty more licks than them. And they will only feel like nothing happening to them. You follow? When all the Lord wants to do is, you see people, it come like I put this down in my house, I use my child, and I say, okay, this is what I want you all to do. You all continue keeping it, going on the line. Right? If you all do it, you all don't do it, you get your curtail, and your neighbors are outside laughing and thinking and giggling. Only seeing you getting licks and them not getting licks, and they thinking, you know, well, think nice. You know what I mean? They caught up in a whole bubble. So they seen you getting all that licks and for all the length of time, they seen that they could push drugs in my community. You understand? They could beat me, they could go to the hospital and poison me. You understand? They could poison my water. Watching this thing, something called Marfa. I'll put the link inside the chat as well, right? Something called Marfa, General Hazayan. You understand? General Hazayan was talking about to watch. Look at that process and look at what they're going to do with Planned Parenthood and all that. If it's your systematic, they put it, they're talking about, they put things in your water, right? So that they'll be sterilized. And the only way they understand that for you to not, you understand, be sterilized and have a child is for them to get the cure. But you have to agree, you understand, to get a license to make one child. And the license only agreeable for one child. You know what I mean? They're trying to determine, they're trying to play God with you basically. The same thing they're doing here, as we read in the scriptures. It's the same exact other way they were doing it about 40 years ago. 50 years ago, you understand? That was the 1960s, 1942 up within that region there. A lot of things they put in, right? To systematically try to kill off the children of Israel. The so-called black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, woman. Right? People like me sing hallelujah with them. All of them jump and praise and all of them different things they're going to do the 31st of December. You understand? The same day they're going to fall in the same trap. At the beginning and ending, I hear out to them. Give me that again, well, the continuing on from the same part of the question. No put the Marfa link there one time. Man. Marfa 21. Right? Go through that thing, go through that thing. Watch it good. This is the mind of your person. This is not the Lord don't want you to go and poison their water and all this garbage. You know? As you're saying, this is the rules of my house. When you're in my house, this is what I want you to do. This is what I need you to do. Follow my rules. Simple as that. And the whole society, the whole world will run as it's supposed to. That's all the Lord wants from us. Do that. Do that. You understand? And that's the change they're looking for. Not every time December 31st comes, they understand they want to clown you. Not that. Yes, sir. Go ahead and hear it, right? Babukusha, yes, sir.
Janus presided over the beginning and ending of conflict, and hence war and peace. The gates of building in Rome named after him, not a temple, as it often called, but an open enclosed with gates at each end.
You better again about the last part.
Right. But an open enclosed with gates at each end.
Janus presided over the beginning and ending of conflict. What has happened in we communities and each and every time, especially around that time? Anybody observe? Remember when all that fire was going on, what could do as well? Yeah, that too. You are the same spirit that you careless sinners and you ain't going to Savannah. That I was supposed to do, going out in Savannah and light fireworks, right? And all them different, you can light fireworks some of that time, Passover. You know what I mean? Other time you could do that, nothing wrong with that. That's not unlawful, right? But in terms of this time, you lose all sense, just like Christmas. You go and you drink till you're belly full. Everything is about gluttony. But everything pagan you follow, you is all about you. How much I can get. And not about my people and them. You follow that is why this gifts and them is all that. It's all about the gifts and who can give the best gift. Everybody have to outdo somebody, understand, the next year. And if you ain't give me something better than what you gave me last year, you don't like me. You don't love me. All of a sudden, my love drop. You understand? So look what you shape a person's love based on. You teach them that, as the scripture say, you teach you women are evil, lesson against you. And women now, if not taught, you understand, and given a certain amount of, you understand, a certain amount of, what do you call it? What do you call this thing? I want to say bridling, but your bridling spirit, basically, you keep them in a certain line, obviously you go off track, because just like children, right? The spirit, they're not as strong as you understand? The Lord give you that to be defense and protection. I said that she would never feel, you know what I mean, that she could go one-on-one and man with you. That is not what her nature is. It's to be more tender and to get that type of guidance, you know what I mean? That is spirit of woman, not that kind of boisterous and manly spirit that she think, you understand, she could continue to conduct herself with. That is not what she is doing. You know what I mean? There's no powerful woman in that. All right? All right, we're going to again, Babu Kusha. Right, the part with the conflict, you know. Beginning and ending a conflict, the gate, just like the so-called time that is supposed to be, right? The beginning, the closing of the gate and the opening of the gate. So the closing of the gate is supposed to be the closing, which is December the 31st, is when everything stops and everything starts fresh again. You just push the magic button. That's how the Lord is work, you know what I mean? He understand can really give, understand, I call it, he in charge of life and death. Yes, he in charge of that, he in charge of healing and destruction. Yes, in charge of that, he can make a poor man sudden, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, on the rich, you understand? He can make that happen. Right? But in terms of every year, everything will start and stop, and all of a sudden the Lord is a genie. And then you could pay a lot of tickets, you could go in the church with 2 pieces in your pocket. You understand? Then next year could be the best year you ever had. Some line there says, go ahead. Yes, sir.
Again, that opening and that closing is only for you.
That's it.
Because now remember now, the financial year start when. And it continues to run until.
Right.
So now you have an opening and you have a closing.
Right. Not them. Correct.
So that only pertains to you.
That is it. You see what officers some of the others say they're really heavy. Day-to-day life experiences, everything you go through, you follow, you can track it according to this Bible and what these heathens and tell you you're supposed to do, and they don't do it. Christ telling you the same thing about the pastors of the churches today. The same spirit the Pharisees and them had. He say, you understand what they say to do according to the Bible, you understand, do that. You know, but do not do after the works, because they say and do not. That is the spirit that you're oppressed. That is why Christ said, John 8:44, somebody put it back with the shot. You understand? Let the Lord talk to man. Let the word talk. You understand? Shapes. And people feeling like, you know, like this thing is, these fellas just talking, you know, they're small and they're trying to get somebody, you know what I mean, to dupe and all that. The biggest dupe, you know what I mean? The biggest dupe going on is the day-to-day 9 to 5. You know what I mean? The society. The biggest dupe is politics. It doesn't you wrap up in all this gap. The biggest dupe is the Christian church. If you don't believe in nothing else, you know what I mean? Because it's one and the same. Same spirit. John 8:44, Baba Kusha. So when we read in here now, you'll see, well, who's the enemy here? And who's the poison? Who's the molester? Who's the magician? Who's the sorceress and the witch? You know what I mean? How it is operate, right? You will see who the real one is, as opposed to what the Lord talking about here. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Slack it, sir.
The book of John, chapter 8 and verse 44. Ye are of your father, the devil. And the lust of your father you will do. Right. So the so-called white man today, and as the Caucasian race, do we see horns and a tail on them and a pick, you know, walking in his hand with a pitchfork? No, you don't see that. You know what I mean? But when you look at the definition of deceive or a devil, you understand it meaning in the Latin deceiver. I mean diablo, right? It means deceiver. And that is what we're talking about. This man is the deceiver on the planet, because he's telling you one thing, you know what I mean? And then he's not doing it. And he just continues to have you rolling, you understand, like a pig in mud, over and over, happy, jolly, just for a split second, because you're without, you understand, you're without character. You don't have, you know what I mean, any life really in you. You don't have your oomph in you, understand? You don't have that attached to your spirit. You don't have who you're supposed to be in you, you know what I mean? So all your soul draw out of you, basically. As they say, you're trying to gain the world, but you lose your soul. You lose everything that about you. You know what I mean? Because you're trying to survive. And not understanding that is exactly what they wanted to do. When the whipping and them stop and all them different things and stop, and when the Lord say, well, all right, I will stop cut the tail so much. Now you get that time to breathe a little bit. So now you can come back to it as I said to do. Right? Before more whips come again and pour on you. Come like a parent. You know what I mean? You get upset with you, or she get upset with you. You get some licks, or you get some correction, you get time out, wherever the case is. You know, you pull away the things that you like so much, or the things that you need, some of the things you need. You know what I mean? And you ain't get them. You take your time, you wait. You're not listening. Right? And then you got time now to keep up, you know what I mean, and operate as you're supposed to. That is the time you're in right now, before things get worse. Like we say, in repent, you understand, that turn away from all the wickedness, stop following after the ways the oppressor. Because that is the deceiver on the planet, you know what I mean? So all this Janus and all this Christmas thing is all about that. All right?
Yes, sir, go ahead. Yeah, Baba Kasha, yeah, go ahead. Right.
Continue. He was a murderer from the beginning,
right,
and abode not in truth.
Go ahead. Give me that again, Baba Kasha. Right.
He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in truth.
So who was the man that they're talking about here? Was in the historical records, according to us, right? Because the only thing that's given in the school today, right? Not the UPK, not the I.S.U.P.K, but in their so-called prestigious your Yale and your Harvard, you understand, in your colleges and your universities, you know what I mean? All them different in society that prepare you for the world to come. Information on ways in our historical records was we murderers from the beginning. Yes, sir, go ahead.
That's a touch on the point that you say the reason about Janus. Janus is agreed.
Thank you.
So who he is.
Oh.
So now
thank you.
Proven exactly what you're
Damn right. Kirk is right. You see, you say that? Heavy as bricks, right? Because now is a Greek. Who's the race of the Greeks and them? The Caucasian, the painted it here, they're telling you in the article, you see that picture. If you go to the link right there that we sent in the chat, you open it and you'll see a Greek, a Caucasian male. Right? Exactly that, you know what I mean? So that is the liar and the deceiver, the murder from the beginning that they're not supposed to fall after. But the Christian pastor following after him because he believed in Janus. And they will tell you that it's a mythical, you know, celebration. It ain't real. It's a myth. These are not characters that existed actually in history. You know, I mean, they pointed after some man, right? That exists, but this Janus never, you know, he never exists. You know what I mean? Well, Julius, Augustus, Caesar, and they exist, but men, you know what I mean, are not good men either. Murderers from the beginning. You know what I mean? All within them. You don't killing. Killing is something different. They can kill for self-defense, they can kill to eat. But the Lord tells you not to murder. You understand? The Lord said that in the 10 commandments, the same thing that at least, you understand, you might hear once or twice for your lifetime in church. The 10 commandments, when it's to the pastor to bring it out to defend himself from some wickedness or something to throw you off, he can bring it out to make it sound like he care. And then he don't talk about no laws. What laws the pastors talk about in church? That's why you're celebrating Christmas and New Year's. That's why you're doing it, you understand? That this man in God in your soul, he falling after your oppressor. Yes, sir.
There is no truth in him.
There's no truth in him. Go ahead.
When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own.
Right.
For he is a liar and a father of it.
And the father of lies. You understand? That is what a man is. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of himself. A myth, a lie. Janus, a lie. Julius Caesar, a lie. The Lord didn't put that in the Bible. Today, what you observe as the month of June and the month of Julius and the month of August Caesar, you understand? He didn't give you that. That's not in the Bible. He didn't tell you to do that. But you know, nothing. You understand? They ain't trying to mix nothing. But what you're supposed to do inside the Bible neither. Mainstream. Right? Because Christianity doesn't teach it. They don't tell you this, they observe no Passover. You understand? Every time is Easter. Every time is Astarte, you understand? Every time is what you call it? Is Christmas, is birthdays, you understand? Is what you call it? Is the spiritual baptism, them, right? Everything, you know what I mean? Corpus Christi, right? All them different things in them, as opposed to what you're supposed to be doing. The Lord give you a whole line of things, and He said to keep this for generations to come, generation upon generation. They don't stop. They don't stop, you know what I mean? The Lord will change. He gave you now the opportunity. That is the only thing that changed, and it didn't change, it upgraded. You understand now? You had to put in more. Because now you quiet, you understand? Not this garbage that your pastor was teaching all the time. Not them religious leaders that was teaching all the time. Now you say, you know what I mean? That you know how to be living sacrifice. No, I want no lamb no more. You can't go on, you understand, slaughter the sheep at will and come and cry crocodile tears and you see not a tear dropping neither. You know what I mean? Yes, sir, go ahead.
I know we can show this in the chat and how to people.
Right.
The go to, I just say, go on the page.
Right.
The brother in headquarters.
Right.
Who, you know, to purchase a calendar.
Yes.
Black Hispanic and
that's right, correct.
To really, as you say, so now you can follow.
That is it.
Your culture, your heritage, and
that is it.
So you
that
know
is it.
All these and then that coming up.
That is it.
You have an idea what taking place.
That's it.
With opposed again following a lie.
Damn right, correct. Right, I shall go upon this one real quick. Right. Yeah, and so the brothers and them again in the school, they do everything. You know what I mean? That is what Commander General taught us, that they do everything to ensure that you are up to speed and you have everything that you would need as much as possible to follow what the Lord said to do. They even make a calendar for you to do, you know what I mean? To follow as well. But everything, the high holidays that the Lord said to do. And every year you'll see us reading about, you know what I mean, the announcements. You'll hear every day, every time, you know what I mean, class going on after the class, you know what I mean, you'll hear about the announcements and what's the next high holiday coming up. And we always invite you all to ask you questions, you know what I mean? Come and find out about your history. Find out the things you're supposed to keep and why you're supposed to keep them. Now you get some life, you know what I mean? Always excite your spirit now because, yeah, boy, look how my brothers and Mr. Roll, how come my sisters and Mr. Roll, you know what I mean? That's how we're supposed to be living. That's why I talk about, I live in. You know what I mean? Yeah. In this wicked kingdom, and the Lord now showing, hey, if you with me, you understand, I go protect you. And they made them know before. And they never used to think to touch you. If the Lord with you, man, there you get. Up in your chest, you know what I mean? All right. All right, so the mass. Right, maybe I get fired. Let's see. So, right, I'm gonna find the post here and here. Let's contact this brother here real quick, right? Bam, bam, bam for it. Alright, copy. Let me see. Okay, share. Options. Alright. I share into the Facebook page. You can go to the I.S.U.P.K Facebook page, right? And the post is there, you know what I mean? Get in touch with the brother here. This brother. To get your calendars, right? And support black business, you understand? Support your own people and them. Learn about your culture, do something, you know what I mean? That your children could see, okay, all right, mom, so what we supposed to be doing and all that. I hear what the brothers saying in the class and all that, or hearing what the other brothers are teaching in the class. What we supposed to be doing, what we supposed to be following. Look at it right here, you know what I mean? And look, you can find, you know, records on it. You can find where you could go in the scriptures and all that. You can ask further questions and all that, right there. You know what I mean? What are you talking about? It, look at it in here. Zondavan is not a black Hispanic and Native Indian man name, you know what I mean? Excuse the condition, right? But Zondavan is a historian again, and he leave recollections of certain things in the Bible. You can find scripture references right here. You could come to class, you know what I mean? You could even ask online and you could probably screenshot something for you right here and then. If you can't make it, you know what I mean? Probably, you know, you probably tight that bed at the moment or whatever the case is. You maybe, you know, in Brazil or Argentina. We have a school in Brazil as well, you know what I mean? Maybe in Argentina, Chile, wherever. Peru, you know what I mean? Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man and woman, you know what I mean? Child as well. Find this stuff and come and ask your questions and learn what it is the Lord said to do and why, you know what I mean? Yeah, because in the beginning when he put down them things in them for you, you know that later on that things like this could happen if you don't listen to him, right? He never intended for you to be under the neck, under the foot, under the stink boots of the suppressor murderer. He never wanted you to be, you know, getting killed down left, right, and center like that, taken advantage of, you know what I mean? He never wanted that for us. Yeah? That is why he never give you them things in the celebrate. And that is why the scripture talking about all them things that go way out as it is doing today. Alright? So again, it's the same spirit, right? Let me get where we at there. Give me the one you're holding us now, the scripture. What call this now? I'd call that scripture right. I'd be feeling second? Yeah, the Exodus 12 on the yeah. That's it. That one next thing I want to read here from this brother here. Okay, back again. All right. Exodus 12 on 1 Bible Kisha.
The book of Exodus 12 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And the Most High spake unto Moses
Right.
and Aaron
Mm-hmm.
in the land of Egypt,
Right.
saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
Mm-hmm.
It shall be the first month of the year to you.
Right. Verse 3, Bible Kisha.
Verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb of an house.
Right. A lamb for house, well.
Verse 4. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house, take it according to the number of the souls, every man according to his deed shall make your count for the land.
All right, the mark saw something, right? Within this reading, they talk about anything selfish. Talk about the best gift. What we see there as an example of in our celebrations, in our high holidays at the beginning of the month. This is the Passover we're talking about, right? Wait, did you see there? Yes, sir, go ahead. Yes, sir.
Yes, you know, one point and way how you're bringing out, as you say, I post a line,
right,
and who this really belong to,
right.
Just as you know, as you say in verse 2, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. So it directly to specific people,
right?
Because it making specifics, because now it's talking to Moses
and Aaron, right?
And he say, right? It shall be the first month of the year to you. Now you're bringing out some concerning the oppressor.
Right.
That belong to we.
That is it. Correct. Correct.
So now look, we read it more concerning we.
Right.
That's why, you know, as you brought out to Aramaic mention concerning, you know, how we fit, you know, falling into their snare, into their trap. The fools. And closing. So I know.
Verse 3 as well, the main time, right back in the day, we're saying there, right? Because verse 3 saying, speak ye unto, even telling Moses who to speak unto the congregation of Israel. You know what I mean? Israel is the last name of a person. That's what people don't understand. When they talk about Israelites, you cannot be an Israelite if you wasn't born from there. Come like I is not Johnson. My last name ain't Johnson. I mean, the last name I have was given by the slave master anyway, right? But we know what we're talking about. You know what I mean? I'm not Alvarez. I'm not Bonji and family. You know what I mean? Well, according to blood, yes, we are, right? But in terms of understanding what really take place, and the origins of who the Bible talking about here, talking about Israel, you understand? That's the last name of a man by the name of Jacob. Jacob name was seen to Israel, which means Shala in Hebrew, and it's Prince of the Power. That's what it means, you know what I mean? So we talk about the congregation of Israel, all these people that come from that stock, from that family, you understand, that tree. That is who to speak to. That is supposed to keep this for year and generation come. To come, and that never change. You understand? I call it in Romans 11, we see the same thing. In Romans 9, we see the same thing. Read it. You know what I mean? Romans 9, 1 to 5. We see the same thing, right? Talking about who to talk about your skins, man, according to the flesh. You know what I mean? Not somebody who can so-called spiritual Israel. That's not there. The Lord didn't give you that. Where we seeing the opportunity for somebody to become a spiritual Israelite? You could be spiritual, you understand? You're spiritual, right? You could change your spirit, and that is what you want to do. You want to change your spirit from after this. You want to purge the garbage from this society and put it in your spirit. You understand? Put what the Lord gave you into your spirit and take that garbage out. You know what I mean? And you're not spiritual Israel, right? So what the Lord's saying to do, you know what I mean? This is who He's talking to, and there's the instructions that follow along with it. You know what I mean? For generation and generation to come. When you read it now and you see the difference, it will show you categorically every time you look at it for every so-called hidden, you understand, celebration, because it will prove itself to be directly against the Most High. Exactly what you see we doing, they'll tell you the opposite. Everything is about yourself and about him and about all that and whatever he needs to do to fulfill his lust. There's evil lust because there's good lust you can have, according to Deuteronomy 14. You understand? Whatever your soul lust after, you know what I mean? But you make sure and take care of people in the same chapter, the same chapter itself, telling you. You know what I mean? That you make sure you take care of the Levites because they don't have a portion for themselves, they don't have lands. You know what I mean? So that is the spirit of how we're supposed to be operating. That is what the Lord saying as opposed to these things, you know what I mean? The spirit of Christmas and the spirit of Janus is the same thing. The dropping of the ball. I wish I could have find that piece of thing there for you. Right? Because the dropping of the ball, what is happening again is everybody on January the 1st, as soon as the clock strike 12, according to the nursery, as soon as the clock strike 12 and the so-called New Year start, everybody in Times Square is going to get drunk. We're going to have more AIDS spreading, more herpes, you understand, more maybe an next strain or some type of STD, and more Omicron. More Omicron virus and more Delta variant and more Lambada. You understand? That is going to happen. Because your enemy, you understand, your oppressor does not think according to the laws of the Most High. He does not have the same spirit of the Most High. His mind is a murderer. Because he is going to sleep with somebody that he doesn't care if you know they have children, you understand, if they have a mother, whatever the case is that probably they give blood to, you understand, he does not care, he's going to sleep with that person or rape the person. Even worse, you understand, because that is the man, that is the kind of spirit the man have. He'll pass that case on to the person easily. You know what I mean? Without a care, he's a murderer from the beginning. That's how he does operate. We could see it in examples, Epstein, Charlie Sheen, all of them different celebrities, and you see them, and all of them get pardons. 66% of the Catholic priests and them has been found to be child molesters, and look for them, they get a pass to continue to do the same evil again. You know what I mean? That is the spirit that we are prophesying and will continue to do. The same pastor I'm telling you to celebrate jealous, celebrate, you understand, New Year's and Christmas. Right? They end the church and I'm telling you that is the birth of Christ when we could prove that was the time that Christ was born. The same, and you're going to pull that same thing. All you have to see that because on the same Monday that went about it and read it through again. Right? In fact, we'll go to the Luke, right? Luke chapter 2, where you go to it a little bit and show, you know what I mean, what is going with this Christmas story. Right? I just want to read a little part here with this thing, you know, right? The same article, right? Is that the next part here? I'll just read it real quick for time's sake now, but the Senate will be a little hours, right? So January, January doesn't bring in a new year, right? We're in the middle of winter and everything is cold and icy and dead. The beginning of a new year is in spring, when flowers, trees, crops bloom and grow and the earth is renewed. Nature shows us this. You know what I mean? So you can see an example of what the Lord laid out again. The Lord putting down things categorically for you to trace and to understand exactly what I'm talking about in the scriptures here. I'll show you it physically, you understand, with regards to flowers, the plants, you understand, the livestock, everything. I'll show you exactly what is happening on the face of the planet. To prove when, you understand, things is new and when it's dead, you know what I mean, at certain time periods and all that. Them things are important. And this professor telling you again, as Daniel prophesied and tell you, because he know what the Lord saying, what happened, and exactly what the man was doing that time. So Daniel more than confident in writing now and obeying what the Lord said to do because he in the right spirit. You understand? So him now prophesying and showing you this, you know. You could definitely time that for years. Look at where we now. We don't know. He changed times and seasons, you know what I mean? Yeah, they say in 2021, but according to the Lord, a time period is stop. You know what I mean? Our new day is begin at sundown. Sundown to sundown is a new day. You know what I mean? Not 12 o'clock in the night. Right? So that's what the suppressor doing. He just continuing, you know what I mean, to make things very hard for you, and understand, to come back to the Most High. Because if you would begin to align what really taking place here, also you'll follow along with who does do this. Remember, he doesn't do it. This spirit then is not totally opposite. So now you can trace back to what does work. Because if you're saying, okay, I'll go back to the proper alignment of things and breed stuff, all them different things, and I have a time period to breed, things will go back to the proper way it is. I mean, things will come a little bit faster because it's in the right sequence, not in the proper order. You know what I mean? So now it's simpler to come back to how it's supposed to be. You know? And that's what this professor want to ensure that we don't get to. It's why he does develop them type of working structures, you know what I mean, and we call it and political systems and all that, designed not to give you no assistance. The people like to say in the medical field, they're not interested in healing. They're interested in and it may be true to some degree, but they can't still override in a sense certain basic things now. You know what I mean? It'll be too old and nobody will trust it and they won't have a job. It'll just cripple the industry, so they can't make it to where, you know what I mean, they kill you off altogether. So that's why, you know what I mean, with a good physician, just like a lawyer. A good lawyer, find a good lawyer, you find a good physician. Right? They do what you're supposed to do, because not everybody under the scheme are the so-called oppressor. Because they understand that I would just deplete myself. But some people just think a certain way, and then there's some oppressors that would see that, hey, this pathway that they're going down here, you know what I mean, it don't make no sense. Just like this movie. I watched it last night or the night before. Some of them, Don't Look Up. Don't Look Up is a good movie that shows you exactly what's going on with your oppressors and the man. What one is there was a meteorite that was supposed to hit Earth in 6 months, right? And they comment, you know what I mean? And in 6 months, what they decided when they had the chance, you know, to reverse things and destroy it from a distance, they noticed that hundreds of trillions of dollars in the comet in gold and precious metals and all that. So you know, this bastard decided to try and take a chance, right? And go to nanotechnology and all different things to see, well, all right, they go put certain bots on it, you know what I mean? And they go mash it up, and then they'll get to extract the gold and everything now, you know, so they will become more rich. The president itself, you know, she was a piece of work, right? And his son was the chief advisor, and he was a dumb. He was a real dummy. If Trump was in the younger days and had the liberty of speaking, he probably that man and the thing maybe that showcase Trump just on the same level or maybe a little worse. That is the level dread it was, you know what I mean, in the movie itself, right? And what go on is they missed the time when they were supposed to follow the guidance from before. You know what I mean? It's like the Lord saying that this way is supposed to do, or what happened there later on. And the whole earth was destroyed, you know what I mean, in the pride end. And that is exactly what happened. The earth ain't going to destroy, but you understand, they will get the punishment they have to get. It is telling you, you know what I mean? Because everything they get from the historical records here, so they shape it in a way what they call Armageddon, right? But Armageddon is when Christ come back and destroy them with 200 million black angels in the sky, you know what I mean? So that coming. So either which way, that is the minor person. You have to come away from that. I be telling you, understand? Don't fall after the minor persons and all them different things. Don't do that. They, understand, will fall into destruction because that is what will meet them. They don't want nothing else. That's all they're interested in. So that is what they get, you know what I mean? We was going to again, the scripture again? Yeah, Luke chapter 2 and verse 1, Babu Kisha, right? Let's go and show again, you know what I mean? That
And Saka, that's a good analogy, just remove the time.
yes, I'm Christ.
Doctor and the physician.
Yeah.
The lawyer.
Yes, sir.
All lawyers good.
Right.
Find a good lawyer, you know.
Answer.
Not all doctors good, but you can find a good doctor.
That is it.
Court.
Yes,
Right.
Yeah.
You go take no lawyer.
You don't take no lawyer.
Answer to what I say.
And the first thing you might should have you have a lawyer.
Right, correct. Correct.
It doesn't mean if you went by one doctor, you got bad treatment, you wouldn't never go by doctor.
That is it. Correct.
You understand?
Answer.
If you have a rape and she pregnant, you don't go by the doctor.
Oh, thank you.
You go try and make the child you, but you and
Right.
you.
Correct.
Still not listen to the physician.
So even if they was to take a midwife, a doula then, right? And try to make the child at home. If the child under some complications and all that, they still have to go back to the doctor.
Yeah.
But they still have to have an incubator for the child and all that, you know what I mean, to ensure the proper process and child breathing good and all that.
Yeah.
You still have to go back to the same hospital that they claiming never work.
Yeah.
They have to have something from in Pharaoh time with Puan and Shipra. You know what I mean? The two Hebrew wise and the midwife that deliver Moses, right? It had to have some in that time to show, well, not Moses, but the other, you know what I mean, the other Hebrew children, them. They have to have a course that they have to follow going up the line, you know? They go just pop up just like that and industry will come up.
Yeah.
Especially with regards to people's health. Come on, man. So like this is Captain Sakawa Rib is a experienced nurse now, right? And the kind of things she just be bringing out now. That is why it's important to get understand teaching and guidance some experienced men like the men in the I.S.U.P.K. understand that do what the most I say to do. I mean, they are children and all of that, you know what I mean? For years and years upon years, the men that learn under them, they get the same spirit coming on them, even if they are children, but they have proper judgment because it's wisdom passing on what is work. As opposed to, you know, just making a guess now, you know what I mean? So that is what you want to do. You want to align yourself with the Lord say, you understand, just do and actually see it. Right? That way now you ensure that you're coming off the part of destruction that is the part you're on right now. Because the man that ruling over, you understand, he covering the face of the judges, the man, Job 9:24, Babu Kusha, right? And then we go to Christ here because this is important. This is a judge that they cover too. Right? Job 9:24, Babu Kusha, when anybody gets a chance. Then we go to look after.
That to have an analogy about all that is why I always say we should educate.
Yes, sir.
Because he not scared to take the vaccine.
That is it.
So he fully vaccinated, but supporting people that scared to take the vaccine. We're supposed to just come out and educate them. Because a lot of time when the schools were scared to take the vaccine, but we have a strong leader.
That's it.
He educated us.
That's
it.
it.
So, all right, you will take it.
I'm right.
Roger is not a strong leader. He
That's it.
supported the ones who weak.
Gun. Yes, sir. That's
Really
really important, sir.
This whole
Right.
festive season,
Right.
the one skyrocket.
Again, yes, sir. For sure.
Because it's not a holy gathering.
Right.
It's not a holy gathering.
Correct.
It's not a holy gathering.
Correct. Gun. Yeah, warrior, go ahead.
Yeah, so like, yeah, that's
Yeah, man, that's true.
what Officer Galawan saying. I'm not telling them that. They tell them about the mixing. They tell them about the cases that was skyrocket with mixing with Christmas, because you know Christmas people coming from here by here in see you for a long time.
Yeah.
And that against what the virus actually does do, like the perfect
Mm-hmm.
storm for the virus to spread. And they ain't considering that what they're doing, that They basically make it the last Christmas basically because
Correct.
of them going and die.
Correct.
That same
Thank you very much. Exactly. Because in our time, what the priests used to do, it have all kind of laws, Leviticus, maybe 18 especially. You know, you have different parts in it, numbers as well. Where if you find somebody with a scab, quarantine, you can't come in the temple, you know, they can't come against the gathering, you can't come along with the gathering. And as there's a perfect example of what Officer Gallo was now saying there. Christmas is not a holy gathering. If it's holy, you understand the things the Lord said to do, you'll ensure that you do that in a physical way and in a spiritual way too. Right? Because the spirit of the actions, you understand, going to endanger their own life. And that is the dangers of celebrating Christmas and Janus and New Year's Day. All them different gatherings and then. But not exposing yourself as opposed to using the counsel from the Lord, the wisdom that the Lord put on fear, you're not using that. You know what I mean? So what happens there? You will go on and maybe drink from the same bottle and pass it on. We didn't do that. Yes, so good. Right.
Again, really and truly, it's so, as we say, imperative and again to keep the four let's say because one talks and bring it out again. Roger is not leader.
Right, correct.
Commanding General Yahannah is the man in charge.
That's
but now, as we really look through history and records, we see the Most High always choose one man to lead the nation.
Right.
He didn't choose
two and three.
Right. He didn't choose, as we say, other men, as we say.
Right.
So because now they're weak.
That's it.
Now that's why again you always mention coming to the school.
Right.
To get your, as you say, to get your loins good up, to build you up.
Correct.
Because now, apart from not being righteous, now we go tell people, you say you'll take the job.
Right.
And when you take the job, now you will advise other people not to do it.
Right.
And this is what we see going on right now.
That's
so
it.
now, as you see, with all the gathering and all the, as you say, coming together, the problem now is people now not doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
Not following the instructions.
Right.
Laid down by Commander General.
That's it. And the thing is, people thinking, you know what I mean, that we just esteeming some regular man. And this is not a regular man. There's guidelines on what the Lord say a leader should be. You know what I mean? And the man fulfill all the criteria, you understand, to be that man. He is that man. You know what I mean? A leader, you understand, him taking it for hire. That is what going on with him. But this man is a hireling. It's just for money because if you saying something, you ain't vetting the person. You might be in check it probably. You just say, well, you know, to make it look good out to continue money coming in. You take no time to do no research and check nothing, you know what I mean? You ain't say, well, okay, I'm not too sure, but I want to trust the Most High or I want to consult the Most High and pray. And I'm going to ask, and the Lord will show you an example of the cases, you know what I mean? Now you go give him counsel according, you know what I mean? And get to deal counsel with the men with him, right? Roosevelt have no capable men around him that's counsel and consider, you understand, the factors and all them different things, go and dig up, you know what I mean? And go and find how to protect the sheep of them. That is Commander General Yahannah. You know what I mean? He's the man most capable to do that. That is why the Lord have him here. This I know a joke. I know lighting. You know what I mean? That's what the Lord's saying, you know what I mean? Moses, this is what I want you to do. You know what I mean? You will be a God to, you understand, to Commander General Yahannah, you know what I mean? Or Commander General Yahannah. You'll be a God to General Mahiman. You know what I mean? You'll be a God to Officer Galwan, you'll be a God to Officer Taswar. You know what I mean? But the men that right here, you'll do that and you'll choose able men to do this, you know what I mean? So you'll have 12 chief generals, you have 6 chief generals, you have 1 chief general, you know what I mean? You're going to have, you know what I mean, captains at 13,000, you have them there to consult and fix the people and misuse along the lines, whichever area, you know what I mean? This is well structured, this is what the Lord said to do, and exactly what you're finding in the records is exactly what they'll do. You're not finding that nowhere else, they're not interested in that. This is not, you understand, something to take light and people's life to play with. That is why, understand, the only place that authorized to teach the Bible is in the I.S.U.P.K, because the criteria, you understand, to teach the Bible is to live the Bible. That's what the Lord say, understand? That is why you need to be here, not following after this and play Russian roulette with your life. And Elijah, as you're talking about, even if you don't care about yourself right now, you might not esteem yourself, you understand, worthy of the Lord, you understand? Well, you're not worthy of the Lord's mercy. None of us are, you understand? But at least, you understand, to try to get the Lord, you know what I mean, to hear your prayer and for him to really have respect unto you at least. You know what I mean? That you're going to continue to try, you understand, to do it as you say to do. And eventually, you'll just continue doing it because your whole lifestyle change, your whole mind change. You know what I mean? But with jealous and you continue to do this, all you're looking for is some shortcut that never exists. And what will happen, you know what I mean? The economies will continue to build up and yours will continue to crumble. And you just die off, you understand? Simple as that. Simple as that. Whatever way works for the oppressor for him to continue to buy drugs and prostitutes and molest children, You know what I mean? And rob whatever it is, whatever money loss or whatever loss he have, to continue to fulfill that. That's all he will do until the end of time. Until Christ come and destroy that. But for him to destroy that now, you have to come back to how you're supposed to be living. Especially you so-called black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man. You're not, that is not who you are. You understand? You're from the tribe Judah, you understand? The tribe of Benjamin, Levi, Ephraim, Manasseh, Simeon. That is where you come from. You understand? That is not you're not a Puerto Rican. You're Ephraimite, you Aparium in the Hebrew. That is who you is, you understand? You don't have that in you right now. You need to get that in your soul. And that is the mission, you know what I mean? That is what to do. And that's what we continue to do because it's in us now, you understand? That's what the Lord wants to do for you too. That is what's supposed to be in you. That is who you was wired and designed to be. That is it, you know what I mean? Nothing different. And look, this is what they're doing right now. They're trying to cover that and trying to separate you from how you're supposed to be operating. And again, the next prophet, you understand, the prophet Job, or whoever wrote, you understand, this part in Job, will tell you again what they will do. Job 9:24, Babu Kisha, right?
Job chapter 9 and verse 24.
Right.
Earth is given into the hands of the wicked.
He
covers the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
Right, so that's what you're doing, you know what I mean? The men and them that's supposed to role in us and teach the nation of Israel, they're fighting very hard for us not to get on the airways and get exposure and all them different things. And then you can't stop the law though. But that's what they're trying to do because they're not saying the command GEN.YAHANNA for about 40 years, and the son have been carrying on the burden of teaching the children of Israel the right thing. And all the time you sit down in councils with government and as an individual government, what you call it, professionals or whatever it is, you know, government ministers and all that, different council meetings, councillors, council, maybe athletes and celebrities and all that, and they're still not saying this is the man on the worldwide stage. And they're not saying that these are the men that you're supposed to go to for everything in life, you know, because probably the council want to continue to sniff cooking somewhere or whatever, and he just want a fix, just as the so-called oppressors do. He just looking for a fix, as opposed to changing the entire mindset how he's supposed to be operating. That is what he's looking for, you know what I mean? There's a fight to do that, so he's not trying to fight. So that is why they'll cover the faces of the judges, you know what I mean? They don't want society running right and correct and fighting and battling. They don't want that. Anything, that is why they put on the thing. Easy woman, you understand? That easy to get. This easy to get, you understand? Life is just this, you know what I mean? Sell out anything immoral just to get, you know what I mean? A check. Like what is society based on? They don't want you to do that. They continue to cover the faces of the judges just as they're trying to do with Christ. Luke chapter 2, Babu Kashasa, right? But that's what they're saying in Christmas. They're saying Christmas now. Christ was born the 25th of December. That ain't true. You know what I mean? And this custom in you. Right? There's doing it in the Maccabees too. Let me see if I can get that one time. Maccabees. Right? Before Christ, as you're saying, sir, right? In two Babylons as well. In fact, I'm going to get the two Babylons. I'll better need to stop it. Two Babylons, page 85, right? The same thing Officer Galwan brought out what you call it, on the street 9195, you know what I mean? With the sister Aisha Wells on the program Monday gone.
Yeah, 91.9.
Yes, sir, 91.9 FM. That is for people who may not be watching from Trinidad. There's a radio station down here, but they also have a Facebook page and YouTube page. So you could go and find it there, and also on our page. Now I'll put it in the chat right now as you speak. Right? All right, yes, so when you're ready, right? You start to read from the Luke publication when you get a chance.
Book of Luke, chapter 2 and verse 1. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed.
Right, so Caesar Augustus, and this time again, it's like Caesar, Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar. These were the men that rule over the province, like the prime minister of the country, as you're talking about, you know, earlier on in the class. That is what it is, right? So that man saying that all the world shall be taxed. This is the law, the decree he make then, right? Yes, sir, read on.
And the taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria.
Right. Oh, sorry. Well, he carried on the same decree that the man from before him would make, right? All right, go ahead.
And all went to be taxed, everyone into his own city.
Right? So everyone from the own city, everybody had to come and get tax, wherever they was from, right? So now they pointed to the people and them who we bringing up here, or who it's specifically talking about, because the Bible now is talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, right? So all these people then belong to the same stuff, right? All right, read on, sir, Babakisha.
And Joseph also went up from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judea.
So like I said, read that again, Babakisha. Who is it?
And Joseph also went up from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth.
And Joseph, you understand? Joseph, the father of Christ, right? The physical father of Christ, not the stepfather. You know what I mean? As Christians just like to say. Read on, sir.
Into Judea, unto the city of David,
right,
which is called Bethlehem,
because
he was of the house and lineage of David.
Because he was from the house and lineage, you know, son, by blood, by skin. He was from that, you know what I mean? He was from that house. So he as well, he went up to get taxed. Slacks again.
To be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife.
With Mary, his espoused wife, his wife to be, right? Read on.
Being great with child.
Being great with child. Right? And that great with child is just being, you know what I mean, almost ready to deliver the baby. Let's say maybe 8 months and some 9 months, you know, anywhere around that period. Yes, sir?
And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished, that she should be delivered.
So right around that time, the tax season, right, is what time known to the world today? What is the tax season? What time there's actually tax people and all that? March, April, like the tax season, right? Around that same time is when Christ was delivered, when Mary had actually made and understand the child Christ. All right, and then there's some further evidence that obviously God brought out, and that was excellent in the scriptures right there in the 2 verses down below. You'll see that the period of time will also confirm that the tax season is around the time where the nature itself, you know, what shows us what time it was actually. You know what I mean? That Christ was born, but they didn't say, and he was born on the 14th, as you're saying, right? They didn't say, well, it was the specific day and all that. That's not the laws operate, right? A season, a time and a season for everything, right? And they go prove now, you know what I mean, the conditions at the earth, or how it was, you know what I mean, the weather itself, how it was at that time. That's just before you do, right? Officer, shall go ahead?
Right, so yes, like I said, you want to go like but then Maccabees and all too, when they go back to the day and all too, when the police day, the fake and all, they go back to the 25th and all too, like that, you know, the day, it's going a long period, right? Even when it was the tax, the day and all too, the same period, the same time period, companies and them just give out your tax return. You don't give out your tax return in December, neither January, neither February, neither March. All between April and May,
right.
You always give out that tax return to for you to go and collect your tax and pay tax and things.
Right, I'm right. Correct. It is in Maccabees, the first Maccabees chapter 1. Yes, sir, right, don't know. Right, Maccabees. Try and find the same scripture of Zagan, bring out to the class by right? The same verses in First Maccabees chapter 1 and First Maccabees chapter 1. Somewhere later on, I believe.
First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 54.
4 and 54. All right, I think that's the one I'm looking for. I'll start a videotape it.
From 51 to 54, sounds right.
Yeah, that's itself. Yeah, I would like to highlight it too. Yeah, so when you get chance, you do something. We was just now there. We step on Luke chapter 2. Verse 5, we don't Babakisha, sir? 7? Right, yeah. Start from verse 7, Babakisha.
Luke chapter 2 and verse 7. And she brought forth the firstborn son. Around what time? Around the tax season. Right, go ahead. And wrapped him in swaddling clothes. And laid him in a manger. Because there was no room for them in the inn.
Right, no room for them in the inn. So last week, just before we had but Officer Ghana was bringing up, it would be proven that is when the Passover is. time because everybody coming from other cities they get taxed, right? But also it is we call it by law that every Israelite man according to Deuteronomy 16, every Israelite male, you know what I mean, supposed to come 3 times a year, which is the Passover, the Feast of First Fruits, and the Feast of Tabernacles. That is a definite must. They must come to Jerusalem, you know what I mean? And they'll pay, you know, whatever they have to pay and all that, but to observe the time as the Lord say, you know what I mean? There's a stipulation, a statute for years to come. That is what they're going to do. You know what I mean? That is what happens. So they must come across there, and by, at that time, everybody, you can especially, they call it, wonder then or see basically what will happen, because in April again, everybody could be coming from wherever, Brazil, wherever, the UK and all that, to try and come in Santa Florida, right? With the Passover has been held this year, well, we call it April the 15th, right? 2022. Everybody be trying to get there, and then you'll see, you know what I mean, according to what time of preparation and all that. I see somebody late, they might get, you know what I mean, a proper room, so they might have to go on, you know what I mean, bunking at somebody over the cases. Nobody can lie down no animal. Yeah, but I don't mind. If I have to go and do it, I could do it, you know what I mean? I show any other brothers the same way, you know what I mean? If I just come, you want to celebrate the Lord, you know what I mean? It's the same thing with them at that time. You know what I mean? Nothing different. Same exact thing, you know what I mean? So that's exactly why when they come across now, you know what I mean, in another room now, right? And then she being great with child, you have to deliver a child. You have time to go on, you know what I mean? Probably wait until somebody say, well, okay, we make some space for you and all that. Anybody ready to make a child, you know, go up, you know what I mean? They go tell you, brothers who are children and all that, you know. You know, nobody trying to wait, they're trying to put out the child as soon as possible, you know. So that is exactly what happened there, right? And at that time now, it will show you late, even in the verse here, reading on, right? What time of the day it is, because you can't deliver a baby in the dead of winter when it's real cold and all that. So this time now could never be the time Christ was born. That is what scriptures really bringing up. All right? Verse 8, Babu Kishasa.
Verse 8. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night.
Which shepherd you see? You understand, with a big North Face jacket on. You understand, a full jacket covered down here and a thing up here with sea glasses. You know what I mean? In the dead of winter, trying to feed the cow and them ice. That grass, the ground is ice. You can't get the cow and them no ice to eat. You know what I mean? There's grass there to get. They'll never have the animals in them out at that time. There'll never be, you understand, shepherds at night feeding the flock at dead of winter. That never happen. Always be, understand, the springtime, especially remember that new grass and all that coming about. So it's an ideal time, you know what I mean, to feed the flock and all that. So.
And in the night time more cold than in the daytime.
Yes, sir, and in the night time
more freezing.
Exactly, almost you could die in the night time like that, you know. So that wise. Yes, sir.
So going back to the Daniel, we're bringing out the season, showing you know that the dead, as I say, that liar.
Right.
We bring out again in the scriptures again.
That's right.
He was a liar from the
beginning. And then you abide not in the truth. He never abide in the truth, you understand? So this is where they see, you know what I mean? This man, as Officer Sawapon saying there, as you reading in the start of the class, Daniel 7:25 telling me this man, this oppressor that ruling over us would think to change times and laws and weigh all the saints and all that. The reason why it's saying it think, you understand, because he can't do it. He did it, you understand, because he had control over the land, but that not changing what the Lord said. As the scriptures will prove, you understand, that you cannot hide the truth of the Most High from nothing, from nobody, you understand? What he say go happen is what go happen. And eventually we'll come back to how we're supposed to be living and understand everything on the planet, and you'll get to see that this man ruling over us and the pastor is a liar. You understand? Because his father is the oppressor. As the scripture says in John 8:44, you understand? They follow after the lies, you know what I mean, at the father. The father was a liar from the beginning, and he abide not to the truth, you know what I mean? He's the father of murder, you know what I mean? That is what he'll do. Anything. That's to keep you separated from your power, you know what I mean? Because you don't know, well, I can't do that no more. And that's all he does live to do. As he's saying, he don't do nothing different. Like it is, you know what I mean? CIA and all of them different operators and all that. No moral compass and all that. That's gold, oil, drugs, that's the God. Yeah. All right. Officer Shah, give me the same scripture in the Maccabees Bible. Shah. You're bringing out the first Maccabees 4 and verse 51. 751 Bible. Shah. Right? First Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 51.
First Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 51.
Mm-hmm.
Furthermore, they set the loaves upon the table and spread out the veils of fire, the veils, and finished all the works which they had begun to make. Verse 52. Now on the 5 and 20th day of the 9th month, which is called the month of.
What is it? 4 and 20th?
Yeah, the 4th.
No, what is it? It's 5 was in there? I think it's in 3.
5.
5? So it's 5 there?
5 and 20th day.
Nah, man, it had to be 21, it had to be 1 and 20th.
5 and 20th day.
Show that?
Can.
Alright, so what does it do there now? Right, you don't know, Gusha?
Like our right? So verse 52.
Right.
Now on the 5 and 20th day of the month of the 9th month, which is called the month of Sasalu.
Right.
In the 148th year, the
right.
use of betimes in the morning.
Still okay, right? But hey, right, let's say the 9th month, because let's say, right, but if today, according to today's society, right, minus the 9th month, right, from 12 months, what kind of period that time you get as the first month of the year? How much time though? He changed it up a little bit, not much. You know what I mean? He changed time and laws, but if we read in here in the 9th month, the 5 and the 20th day of the 9th month, right? December is the 12th month. If we take away 9 months right now, where will we land as the first month of the year? Because the scripture saying, you understand, the 9 months, this is straight, and it's going to be proven, and this can be tracked. This is not what I say. You know what I mean? This actually happened. This is actual people they talking about reading here. There. This happened with. Right? They change the time to the 25th and 20th day. But from now, if you minus it right now, anybody take a guess. The readers and the people that watch the class, whatever the case is, take a guess. Minus it. This is somebody go drop it in anybody in the class or anybody in the chat. You see, they go drop it real quick. Right? Minus 9 months. Right now we need in the 12th month, right? Minus 9 months. Go 9 months back. What year are we landing in? What month we landing in?
Yeah, landing in March.
Ooh, this is so. No, man, that can't be much. No, man. Right? We landed in March. Right? When they change the thing, they change time and laws. How they come about to December the 25th? What do they do? Asha, what do they do? What you just do?
The change times and seasons.
Change times and wait, boy, for real? Nah, man. Nah, man. So we talking, we just not talking, you know, from our head or something we trying to make up. This is what they actually did. I mean, they can prove to show you that if all when you minus the time, is the time of the Passover time. You know what I mean? As if that's the first month of the year. They say the 9th month, which is December that we end at the so-called 12th month, right? At the time that they say the 5th and the 12th month. And guess what? This period of time here is between, you understand, the so-called Old Testament and the New Testament. So that's before Christ's time. I'd say talking about a period of time before Christ was born. That is what you want to check out. So December the 25th is not when Christ was born. This pagan garbage had existed before that time. This was a Babylonian custom they continued to bring up the earth. Right? It's the worship of Nimrod. Nimrod, you understand, or Semiramis is his mother and also his lover, so-called. Right? Yeah, disgusting. That's how the heathens operate. Sleeping with it. Anyway. Right? What happened is she believed that his life would continue to live on as the tree, and she believed that the tree itself was Nimrod, was the soul. That is where this day come from. This was always something that the heathens used to celebrate. All kind of vain myths and conspiracies and all them different things. This have nothing to do with the birth of Christ. Because as you read in the scriptures just now in Luke chapter 2, we see that Christ was born around the time where, you know, many flocks could be, the people could be outside, the shepherds would be outside at night. And they can't take the chance, you know what I mean, as Officer Gunn was saying, because they might freeze to death, which they will, right? They couldn't be outside at night. It's not wise, you know what I mean? Destructive to the animal in them, because we don't see animal wearing no big fur coat and all that neither, right? There's a one, sometimes the bull in them, they are not here on their skin, you know what I mean? They'll die. It's not wise to that, you know what I mean? So this fairy tale that they're telling in churches, because the pastor falling after your oppressor, the father lies, you know what I mean? That ain't nothing to do with Christ, nothing to do with the Bible, nothing to do with God. I mean, all of that is garbage, and it's the same exact spirit. That same spirit that will happen, you know, I mean, as you was talking about earlier on January the 1st, when everybody gonna get naked, then jump onto their mind and all kind of different things. If all of that is destructive, it's chaotic, and it's not what the Lord says is supposed to be doing. And anytime that you align yourself with it, you say, well, okay, I may not do some of them things they say in there and all that, but just you carrying on the tradition and teaching the children the same tradition, you are a contributor to it. And how things are started, they will start very small, but what happens is over time, it'll just go to be bigger and bigger and bigger. So what will happen is it'll escalate even worse than you see today because you decide that you don't understand the Lord. So-called black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, and you just contribute to the detriment and the continual destruction of your people and them. You know what I mean? All right, so you don't want to do that, you know what I mean? So this is what you want to do, right? Give me 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 21, Baba Bishop. Right? Because people think that even if they get baptized, you know what I mean? Some people go and say they go into the church, right, and they'll give their life to Christ, so called. You know, that's the call for every new year, especially with them Pentecostal and them kind of churches, you know. Like what they're saying, right? Bishop Charles Gordon and all of them go talk the garbage and try to get people to recommit themselves to the Lord. The end of the old man and a new year. Every year they tell a new man, a new man. They follow and they're not so called, right? That is madness. This is what you want. You understand? According to the Most High, this is what you want from me. 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 21, Baba Bishop. You just don't want to get caught up in the lies continually and continue to spiral into that garbage. This is what you want. Who have it, Baba Bishop?
The book of 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 21. The like whereunto even baptism doeth also now save us.
Pause right there, Baba Bishop. Baptism save us. So now we're going to see what baptism really is. Because when you go down in the water, you understand, and come up and you don't change your ways, it proves itself that is not baptism. According to the scriptures, you understand, baptism is this. Reading on here, this is what baptism, this is what will save you. Read on.
Not putting away the filth of the flesh.
No, man, talking about taking a bath.
Not putting away the filth of the flesh.
No, man, putting the sign of the cross and sprinkling some holy water on you.
Not putting away the filth of the flesh.
Not putting away the filth of the flesh, and anything they say, you understand, align with that. But
the answer of a good conscience toward the Most High by the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
That is what going to save your so-called black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man and woman. Getting a good conscience towards the Most High power. How you do that? You renew your mind. You follow so that now that is the action that you will take. You have to renew your mind to serve the Most High. You have to do that for the Most High to save you. Yes, sir.
What's your time?
1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 21. I in the bath. Right? Not the putting away the filth of the flesh. You can't take a bath and feel, you know what I mean, that's good enough for God. Now, all the garbage you learn in the society here, you have to come away from Christmas and all them different things to them and learn to follow the ways of your forefathers and learn to do what the Lord said to do by statute year by year. Because you see what it is do. And an example, what we read earlier on in the class was in the high holy day, you know what I mean, in Exodus chapter 12, the men was reading where, or what we read and saw was the Israelites and them making sure that they take care of each other. When they go and take the lamb, if the lamb too big, you understand, for one house, you go and share it with two houses. If the lamb they don't have enough, they just make sure, understand, that everybody have. And that is the spirit that the Lord wants you to have. You might not taking care of your people and them. You understand? You have to care about the things that the Most High say first. You know what I mean? For you to do it with each other. You know what I mean? So that is what it is. That is to put into practice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Great.
Even as we are not going to get baptism, when they really incorporate verse 20 with 21, even the beginning of 21 telling you, right, the light figure. So before you even go into the washing and the filth of the flesh, it's telling you that this baptism is a figure. Right. So you compare it to the flood. Right. You know, so 20 and 20, but I this scripture 20 and 21 is a nice combination. So to show straight up that is a figure. That is it, correct. You know, of something to come. Exactly, and what you're saying is absolutely true, and the Bible will always understand. That's what you see the men in the I.S.U.P.K doing, because they understand what you're talking about, and the proof of that is John. John telling us, understand, that hey, this I doing here, understand, the man that coming after me, I not worthy to latch his shoes, and understand, he will cleanse it, he will baptize it, and he
He will teach you what to do. He will do it by fire. Understand? Fire talking about tribulation is go through by unlearning the garbage you learn from the religious leaders and all that. You know what I mean? And that is the fire that will go through your spirit and all that. You're going to get burned up because the people who follow Christ didn't get burned up. It wasn't that they didn't pass them through no fire. You know what I mean? What happens is the ways and them that they had to break off. You know what I mean? And that is what he's talking about. This what he's talking about is absolutely perfect. And that is how the scriptures, you know what I mean, is based on. If you're not seeing, you understand that nowhere else, your followers know that you're not following God. You're not doing what the Bible is saying. You know what I mean? So that's what it is, you know what I mean? So again, you feel free, you know what I mean, to reach out, ask your questions and all that. And you have it, you know what I mean? You have it available, readily available to you, you know what I mean? Some priest or some prophet, you understand, in the I.S.U.P.K and the command in GEN.YAHANNA, wherever he is. I mean, even overseas and all, sometimes somebody might get a call over the cases and all that or whatever, and teach you, understand how you're supposed to live, you know what I mean? So that is what it is, and that is what the Lord wants, and that is what going to change the society. Alright, so I don't know.
I see so like I say, even before you go on, I see Captain can post up a script there which really click on the line where saying that. Right? So like if I'm right.
Definitely.
He put on the book here, Luke chapter 16 and verse 15. Right? And he said unto them, ye are they which justify yourselves before men, but God knoweth your hearts. For that which is highly esteemed among men is an abomination in the sight of the Most High.
That is it. Correct.
And right. Baptism, you know.
Correct is right.
Churches and things, it's just to be seen among them.
Correct.
But the scripture say the Lord know the heart.
That is it.
He know the works.
Correct. Damn right. And there's a solid point to add to it, because that's what the Christians is doing right now. With the same tradition they have in each and every Christmas and each and every they call it New Year's. Because they go and pretend to care about people and them, you understand, feed the people and them and all that, you know what I mean? But when you really examine the works, you know what I mean, it ain't good. It ain't about the Most High, you know what I mean? So that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect, yo. You know what I mean? So to what again, greatly appreciate it. Alright. So with that, we go end the class here again. All the thanks for tuning in. I mean, go ahead and like and share and all that, you know what I mean? Just so other people to get it through. You know what I mean? And let them contact the school that they're in, you know what I mean, and talk to the camp leader them and see about, you know what I mean, getting up to speed with what the Most I want them to do. Alright, and with that, we pass the class over to Priest and Officer SHALAM.
Security announcement. We had I.S.U.P.K out of 123 Street Harlem. We have been teaching this since 1969 at the blacks. Flat, yes, sir. We had the I.S.U.P.K out of 123 Street Harlem, New York, under command of Gen.YAHANNA. No rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are offering for 6 months. They have to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves out. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in peculiar person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to another brother or sister. There's another 6 months which a brother or sister will quote each other. After the 6 month period, a brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithe, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapter 18 and verse 21, Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. Means 10 to who that comes at my share. 10% of every penny increase the most I give you treasury department or teacher priest fund, pure offering for priest, non-mandatory. Whatever amount you like to give. Upcoming holy convocation, that will be Purim, that will be the 14th day and the 15th day of the 12th month. That will be Monday the 14th February and Tuesday the 15th February 2022. You can find this in the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 20 to 31. Mind your Akiam that watch them to check on social media such as I.S.U.P.K, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for I.S.U.P.K events and material. If your brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then just start wearing all black, which includes black boot, light shirt, light pants, light headband, scarf. So that we say Majam. Start up and rock down. When it says Lord's Prayer in Hebrew, Abanawa, Bashemaya, Right.
Father.
Our Father.
Shall in heaven.
Shall in heaven.
Hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth.
In earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day.
Our daily bread.
Our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
And forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
And we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not
into
into temptation.
temptation.
But deliver us from evil.
But deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
Thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
So be it.
So be it.
I'm going to say the blessings in Hebrew. Barak.
Barak.
Atah.
Atah.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shai.
Shai.
Shalala. Al-Hayam.
Al-Hayam.
Atazabia.
Atazabia.
Rabbi-Hannah.
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 Aranium.
Aranium.
Akwat-Zalium.
Akwat-Zalium.
Akwat-Yalium.
Akwat-Yalium.
Abatium.
Abatium.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Hashem.
Hashem.
Shai.
Shai.
Wadaman.
Wadaman.
In the English, bless Yahweh.
Bless Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commanding General
Commanding General.
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 Captain.
Captain.
The officers.
Officers.
Troopers.
Troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
I'm going to say the Hakat. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Hashem.
Hashem.
Shai.
Yahweh Shai.
Shai. Tananawa.
Tananawa. Akak. Akak.
Ra.
Ra.
Lamakala.
Lamakala.
One.
One.
Akat.
Akak.
Atah.
Atah.
Umadarium.
Umadarium.
Akat.
Akak.
Akoyam.
Akoyam.
Matayam.
Matayam.
Akat.
Akak.
Akawat.
Akawat.
Maalam.
Maalam.
Agarashun.
Agarashun.
Ashum.
Ashum.
Shai.
Shai.
Wadaman.
Wadaman.
In the English, Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Please give us the power.
Please give us the power.
To heal.
Power to heal.
All manner of sickness.
All manner of sickness.
All manner of disease.
All manner of disease.
The power to cleanse the
Power to
lepers.
cleanse the lepers.
The power to raise the dead.
Power to raise the dead.
The power against unclean
Power
spirits.
against unclean spirits.
To cast them out.
To cast them out.
In the name of Yahweh
In the name of Yahweh
Shai.
Shai.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
This is blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
And all things living.
All things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
Send evils and
Send evils and
curses
curses.
and punishment and destruction
Punishment and destruction.
to the heathen
To the heathen.
that speak against
Speak against us.
Thy prophets,
Thy prophets.
the teachers,
The teachers.
the princes,
The princes.
the priests,
The priests.
the Israelite brothers,
The Israelite brothers.
and the school.
And the school.
Send evils and
Send
curses
evils and curses.
and punishment and destruction
Punishment and destruction.
to the heathen
To the heathen.
and shake loose
And shake loose.
the church of the rich of
The church of the rich of
Israel
Israel.
that refuse to give to the
And we
school,
give to the school.
force the riches,
Force the riches.
to enter into thy
Enter into
sanctuary.
thy sanctuary.
Send evils and curses
Send evils and curses.
and punishment and destruction
Punishment and destruction.
to the Edomites
The Edomites.
and the nations
And the nations.
and their drug dealers,
The drug dealers.
the court system,
Court system.
the prison system,
Prison system.
Planned
Planned
Parenthood,
Parenthood.
all the governments of our
All the governments of our
enemies,
enemies.
Amalek Synagogues and armies,
Amalek Synagogues and armies.
Roman Catholic Church,
Roman Catholic Church.
Pope,
Pope.
Islam,
Islam.
Christianity, Egyptology,
Egyptology.
Militia, Ku Klux Klan,
Pakistan.
Aryan Nation,
Aryan Nation.
Skinheads,
Skinheads.
Posse
Comitatus.
Gay Movement,
Gay movement.
Lesbian
Lesbian
Movement,
movement.
Spies,
Spies.
Workers of Witchcraft,
Workers of Witchcraft.
NASA Space
NASA Space
Program,
Program.
Army,
Army.
Navy,
Navy.
Air Force,
Air Force.
Marines,
Marines.
Wall Street,
Wall Street.
Open up the internet,
Open up the internet.
and the airwaves,
And the airwaves.
the cable access channel,
Cable access channels.
and the radio channel,
And the radio channels.
convict the spirit,
Convict the spirit
of any of thy people,
of any of thy people
that seek to stop us,
that seek to stop us.
and bring swift destruction,
And bring swift destruction.
to all the heathen,
All the heathen.
that stand in the way,
Stand in the way.
of trying to stop us,
Trying to stop us.
from broadcasting your words,
Broadcasting your words.
to all the planet Earth,
To all the planet Earth.
and lose all the
And
plagues,
do all the ways.
cause them to go to and
Cause them to
fro,
go to and fro.
to the earth,
To the earth.
and consume
And
them.
consume them.
Let the plague shake
And the plague shake.
the house of the thief,
The house of the thief.
and the murderer.
And the murderer.
Let Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai.
Michael,
Michael.
Gabriel,
Gabriel.
know the flying saucers,
Know the flying saucers.
and punish all the heathen,
Punish all the heathen.
and come up against us,
Come up against us.
as we speak thy
And
words,
speak thy word.
cause it to be known by all,
Cause it to be known by all.
that is the angels that done
And
it,
the angels that have done it.
cause it to be spread
Cause it to be spread
to the media,
to the media.
to the whole
To the
world,
whole world.
cause them to shake
Cause them to shake.
as they coming.
And I coming.
In the name of Yahweh
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
thank you always.
Thank you always.
So be it.
So be it.
Bless Israel. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Hashem.
Hashem.
Shai.
Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Aliyah.
Fire.
Fire.
Barak.
Barak.
Gun.
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 Good.
Kwasi to sugar.
Kwasi and Sugar.
Here, Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe.
All the brothers and sisters fighting coming to the
All the
truth.
brothers and sisters fighting coming to the truth.
All the brothers and sisters in the truth.
All the brothers and sisters in the truth.
Command General Yahanna.
Command General Yahanna.
generals, captains,
officers,
troopers,
sisters,
children,
brothers
and sisters fighting on the truth,
brothers and sisters fighting on the truth,
brothers and sisters in the truth, all 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, I.S.U.P.K Trinidad and Tobago, and their families. I teach
Commander General,
generals, captains, officers, troopers, sisters,
all the children of Israel,
Shariah,
Indian family,
Muslim
family,
Koto family, Philip family,
Canadian
Ghanaian family,
Amandan family,
Sabrina family,
Fletcher
family.
Commanding General Yahanna, all the generals, all the captains, all the officers, all the troopers, students, all the sisters, Shankar, Yapa, Para.
Generals, captains, officers, troopers, sisters, children, Commander General, generals, captains, the officers, the troopers, sisters, children, Muslim all the destroyed of Israel, Muslim all our families, Muslim all the sick and the sin of Israel, brothers and sisters fighting to become the truth, Johanna, Kimberly, Dillon, next one. Generals, captains, officers, troopers, sisters, students, all the children of Israel, all those fighting John family, Koto family, Philip family, Alexis family. Brothers and sisters in I.S.U.P.K, children and babies in I.S.U.P.K, people comment the truth. Franco family, Wrong family, Zion, Wesleyan, Daniela, Amelia.
all the families in the I.S.U.P.K, all the fighting the community. And we'll see on the brothers and sisters on the side. May they one day find the truth. Alicia, Aliyah, Bawa, Natwell, Joyce, Teresa, Joan.
Bashem,
Oshai,
Raman.
In the English, what we said was, Lord, in the name of Yahushua, bless us, and Israel, and the school, bless, heal, shield, protect, our loved ones, in the name of Yahushua, thank you, so be it.
Sir, let's get a teacher one quickly salute. Imagine Shabbat, Imagine Barak,
Yahweh Shemi Hashem Rakatam.
Sir. Let's get sisters online. I want quickly salute. Imagine Shabbat, Imagine Barak, Yahweh Shemi Hashem. Class dismissed.
Don't sleep low.